Hello there, welcome to another talk, another podcast, meditation, and you wonder what I was doing there. I was just having a sip of my can of Pepsi that I've got there. Before I get into this talk, this meditation, as I say. All my talks are meditations, and this one, like I say, this one is called Divine Feminine and How It Affects You. And the best explanation of how it affects you, that I have to base it on my own spiritual awakening. 10 years ago, if you're new to my stuff, 10 years ago I had an unexpected spiritual awakening. Excuse me. And in that awakening, a massive mind explosion transformation, where I sat down one day, I sat down on my bed and I had enough of everything. But I'd never meant it like this before. I'd never felt like this before. I remember that day I slept, it was the morning, and I just meant it with every bit of me. And I never felt like this before, like I say, but I had enough of everything. And then I had a glimpse, I had a glimpse of myself in the future. This power that I'm talking about, this same power is within everybody. This power is within everybody. And what happened at that moment, I was heart-based. You see, I was authentic. The power to be authentic, the power to have that kind of moment where you spiritually awaken like that, ignite the heart chakra. That is the power that is within everyone, and that is the divine feminine. The divine feminine is a very authentic force. It is the force. Originally everything had to come from nothing, you would say, which it has to. And then there was, the female side is the original. The male side is ultimately the same, the opposites of the same one thing. But they split. Twin flame is just an example of it. And so in this spiritual awakening, that's what basically happened. It was this divine power within. And how this divine force, this divine feminine, whatever you want to call it, what it's done to me since then is it's completely transformed my personality to the way I was then. Back then, I was a compulsive liar. I wouldn't tell lies that would hurt other people, but I would tell lies about myself, and I just wasn't authentic, fake, weak, overly sensitive, but sensitive in the wrong way. The divine side of the female energy is sensitive, but can control and channel its sensitivity in the right way. You see? And you can't become a true divine masculine until you become a true divine feminine. This is the force that makes you become a divine masculine. You see, and ever since the awakening, this force is it's put me on a healing pathway. And because before, it's not just that I wasn't being authentic. There was sensitivity there, but it was sensitivity, but out of control sensitivity. And that's what the divine feminine will bring about. It will bring balance into everything. It will make you start thinking, I want to balance it all. You see? And so that's what you start striving for. So, and then I went in this pathway of healing, and it completely transformed my personality. And that's because the flaws or the things that I was insecure about, it's okay now. And so if you're someone that is going through an awakening at the moment, I mean, I've had many since then, since the first awakening, but that was the first big mind explosion. And yeah, this divine feminine was leading me through the journey until you become the divine masculine. But you've only become the divine masculine sort of like because the divine feminine in the awakening process is acting like your mother, except a divine mother. You know, it's saying to you, it's okay, you can cry, you can let it out, right? And the divine feminine doesn't judge you for anything that you're doing, good or bad, because all that is just made up. The divine feminine doesn't judge in any way. You see, it's us that creates judgments and thinks this is right, that's wrong, that's everything's made up. As Steve Jobs once said from Apple, that everything is made up by people that are no more smarter than you. And the divine feminine, when you're going through that awakening, is just saying it's, you know, it's all crap. Excuse my language, you know, but it's all rubbish. You see? And when you're going through this pathway of understanding that it's all made up, that it's okay to be whichever way you are, that's when you start to be more at ease, and you start to develop more confidence. You start to be able to work your sensitivity in a way that isn't controlling you. So instead of controlling you, you're actually developing yourself. You see? And how, you know, if someone's listening to this and they want to tap into this power, spiritual awakening, divine feminine, you wanted to become a divine masculine, it's all within the heart area. I did it unconsciously at the age of 24 because I had enough of everything. But I knew someone that committed suicide because he had enough of everything. You know, so it's choice at the end of the day. And so, like I say, the divine feminine is just, you know, it doesn't judge you. It doesn't, you know, no matter what you've done, if people judge you, that's not because what they think. That's because of the narratives that they believe in their heads, that is being created by others. It's not even coming from their own mind. Most people are sheeple. Some people think they're not sheeple, but all they're doing is acting like sheeple. Repeating and believing that which is made up. And the divine feminine, if a woman is truly a divine feminine, you know, then she knows that. And there's very few females that are a true divine feminine. But you don't have to be speaking to one physically. You know, we all embody that in our divine self, and how you access it is through the heart. And then you'll start to go on a pathway, you'll start to forgive yourself, you'll start to let go, you'll start to be more authentic. Divine feminine is a very authentic power, and if you are a male, you want to become, like I say, the divine masculine, that's how you do it. The divine masculine can only be developed through working with the divine feminine. And like I said earlier in this talk, that another example is twin flames. One can't exist without the other, right? They are two peas in the same pod. They are one. And ultimately, that's what's happened on the planet just now. You know, I'm not the only one going through this kind of experiences. You know, we're going through a mass awakening. And that's really what's going on. I said a few years ago, I posted it on Twitter a few years ago. I think there is one woman that mentioned it to me a while back. That I said that the happenings, the physicality will change because of the awakenings. And my spiritual awakening started in 2012. That's when apparently the energy changed. And that's why everything physically seems to be changing. That's because the energy's changing. And so there's other people out there that are going through these experiences. I don't really think it's just 144,000. I think that's symbolic. I think years ago those people, were just trying to say things in symbolic ways. But anyone can tap into this. It's all within the heart area. If you think a problem with your head, you'll have anxiety and fear and panic. If you feel it with the heart, you have the answer. And you'll notice that you're all of a sudden you're in the present moment. You've got the answer. Everything's perfect. Because the heart area, that is the divine feminine force. Because the divine feminine force is the source of all existence. Divine feminine is just a name for it, but it's the source. It's the one infinite nothingness, which means all knowing and knowledge and understanding is within that power. You see? And that same force is within the divine masculine, and vice versa, because they are one, but in a separate experience. And in that separate experience, it's a great experience, duality. But it's an experience. Ultimately, we are one, and that's what the law of one's all about. It's all about understanding that you're one, and how it is all oneness. And if you start to feel with your heart instead of thinking with your head, you'll start to realize that it's all love. It's all, as David Icke said, infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. And I think that's a good note to end it on. For latest talks, songs, news, updates, all different subjects, information, please do visit my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.